So, hello, Shapers. Welcome to another episode of Coffee with Curators. Today, we are delighted to have a guest from Africa who is working to solve one of the biggest problem in Africa. In African economy, the agriculture sector is the principal driving force and securing employment for two-thirds of continent's working population. However, 45% of the total food production in Africa is spoiled due to the lack of cold storage. Our today's guest started a startup called Ecotutu to solve this problem in order to sustainably secure the food supply chain. It's my pleasure to welcome the curator of Lagos Hub from Nigeria, Africa, Babajide Oluwase. Welcome to the Coffee with Curators.
Thank you, Gujanan. And thank you for the introduction as well.
So, Babajide, I would like to start our today's podcast with Ecotutu. Very interesting name. So, can you tell us a bit about the overall journey of this your startup, how and when it started, and the current condition and your future plans for it?
So how did we start? We started from identifying gaps, right? So it's interesting to also mention that I never saw myself playing within the agriculture space, right? I found myself, I thought I'd be playing more within the environment space. I've always been interested about everything environment, and even as an undergrad, I was doing a lot of advocacy on environment issues like climate change, global warming, environmental sustainability. I was doing that with some other colleagues at the time. And then we're going to schools, going to marketplaces, talk about environment, talk about climate change, and what people can do for a better environment. And as we move forward on that, I realized that whilst you're talking about environment, talking about climate change, right? You start telling people to stop doing certain things because it's not good for the environment. For example, hey, stop cutting trees, stop burning waste, stop doing this, stop doing that. And then the question is, if you tell people to stop doing something, what alternatives are you providing them to use? If you say they should stop cutting trees to make firewood, to cook, what alternative are you providing them that they can afford, right? And that was what sort of shifted the whole mindset to be from, rather than just doing advocacy and talking about these things, I might need to also start getting hands-on, right? Creating solutions. And then we created something from waste, agricultural waste at the time, to cooking energy. And we started out with that. We had some tractions. And as we get along, we saw that it doesn't seem like we're able to scale what we're doing at the time, right? And I've already been seeing the gaps, right, in the food value chain. And also a lot of studies, a lot of papers are pointing to how food waste is also like a significant part of factors contributing to global warming, right? And beyond all of those research and facts, it is also something that I can see, right, on daily basis in major markets in Lagos, another part of Nigeria. And so it's that curiosity that drove me to that point of, if we could solve the problem of food waste, right? It means that we'll be solving environmental problem because we're cutting on waste. It means that we'll be solving economic problem because this food that are going to waste is also money for a lot of people. And it also means that we'll be solving social problem, meaning that we'll be creating and retaining jobs for people in the food value chain. And that was what got me so interested in that space. And then we got there, we do a lot of questioning, research, trying to understand what is being done, and to see where we can better fit. And yeah, so it's been a journey, right? From that point where we identified, say we want to do this, and to this date. So where we are now, we've been able to serve over 1,000 farmers through our coaching solutions. And the interesting thing about what we're doing is that it's renewable energy powered, right? It's solar powered. So you don't have to rely on fuel from generator or like from the grid that is most times not reliable. And like I used to say, like they've been building cold rooms before I was born, right? But what makes what we're doing a little bit unique from what is being popularly done is that we are enabling small businesses, small farmers, small little retailers and the likes. We're enabling them to have access to cold storage solutions for a fraction. So they don't have to buy if they can't afford it. They don't have to buy if they don't need it. What we're doing is what we call cooling as a service, right? So pay as you chill. So you only pay for things to store when you have things to store, right? So if you're storing 5 crate of tomatoes, 2 crate of tomatoes, that is just what you're paying for. And then if you're storing for 2 days, that's just what you're paying for. So you don't have to pay a lot of money for what you don't need, right? So that is how we are somewhat enabling these businesses. So now businesses can now buy more produce, harvest more produce, without the fear of the produce going to waste and without the fear of their efforts going down the drain. And we're doing it one community, one location at a time. And as the company grows, the plan is to spread this across Nigeria. The plan is to spread this across major food points in Africa. And the plan is to spread it across major food points in developing countries around the world.
So you are solving one of the biggest problem of the globe. So it's not
Yeah.
a very like a small thing. So who are your other partners? Do you do this by yourself? Do you have any partners, or do you get any kind of government support or from support from any organization? Can you tell us a bit
So
about that?
the first point of partnership I will talk about is my team. I mean, we've been through thick and thin, trying to figure a lot of things out, even with very limited resources or in the face of no resources sometimes, right? I mean, so those are like the first set of partners that I think they're like the most important as far as this what business is concerned. And next point is that we've also been very much open to exploring collaboration with players across the value chain, right? So aggregators that works directly with smallholder farmers, they are like a big part of our business operations as well, because through them we are able to directly access the farmers. In terms of government support, maybe not direct support that we've gotten, but I mean we've leveraged on different government-supported, government-partnered programs in Nigeria that are somewhat help us be able to have access to some other stakeholders as well, right? But if you ask me, of course, there's a lot more that can still be done from that front, from the government side, right? But we've been able to latch on some of this support mostly indirectly, and it has helped us be able to make certain connections that is helping our work. On the other side as well, for the private sector, we are also very much intentional about building relationship with players in that space. Through some of them, we've been able to access some funding, we've been able to access some go-to-market support or access to market, as the case may be. And also to some, we've also been able to access some sort of technical support in terms of our technology, in terms of our business model, and in terms of even fundraising generally for us to grow the impact of creating in the business. So I think that's that about that in terms of support and in terms of partnership with other entities.
So you are a global shaper like all of us.
Yeah.
And you are the curator of the Lagos Hub also. So
Hmm.
can you walk us through from your journey from joining as a global shapers community and to becoming the curator of the hub and your overall journey as a global shaper?
Yeah. So my journey as a global shaper started from. So interestingly, I was invited by the Lagos Hub sometime in 2019. So I have like few friends that are like members of the hub at the time, and so they had like a session on. So they were this program they were doing them with climate reality. Um, so the Algo program, and so they had a watch party. So I got the invitation to come on board to join the panel to basically talk about environment and the role of young people. Basically, what I'm doing on this call now. So I was invited to that panel session, and I got there. I came to talk about my work and what we're doing as young people alike to drive climate solutions forward. And of course, I've heard about the Global Shippers community time and times before then. But in that space, I felt the energy of what it seems like to be a shaper, right? I saw the quality of young people that were in that room. And I was just so fascinated by it that got me more interested in saying, okay, I think I need to get more involved in what the Global Shipper community in Lagos is doing. And so at the next recruitment cycle, which was later in 2019, I applied. And interestingly, so at the time, they all just got a grant from Coca-Cola Foundation and global waters, right? So, and the focus of that project, of that grant support is on plastic recycling projects, right? So the hub now needed someone that has expertise in the area of environment, sustainability, circular economy, and the likes, right? And so when I applied for it, it was just like, okay, this is perfect, right? This guy seems to have a lot of experience leading and managing environmental projects, and then it just seemed like the best person for us to lead this, right? So it was a no-brainer that eventually I was accepted to join the community. And when I got in, that was even like the first set of project I started with in the hub, and I took it in like my daily, like my 9 to 5 project, right? I put in a lot of effort, of course, also with the support of members of the community. The Sheba community were able to do a lot, and COVID happened. That was, of course, February, March, same year, because I joined the community in January 2020. We were planning Shape Africa because Lagos Hub was hosting Shape Africa at the time, and there was a lot of things going on. You know, the grants was in. We were to do the plastic projects. We were to also host the Shape Africa 2020, which we called the Shape Africa of the decade, right? So there was a lot of things going on, front, right, left, and center. We got the grant from another organization to do like an education project. So there were a lot, and I felt so happy being in the community at the time. Like, oh my God, this is so much work to do, but it's a lot of impact for us to create as well. And then COVID came, right? COVID hit us in this part of the world in March, right? As of February, we're still watching it in the news, how Europe was grappling with COVID, how the US were grappling with COVID. Whenever news is something that will go around. And then in March, we got the first case in Lagos, and then the whole journey started from, oh, we need to go on lockdown, and everything just went on hold. And then when we got out of no, even in the course of the lockdown, we're now re-strategizing a lot of things. We already got information from the headquarters that we won't be able to go ahead with hosting Shape Africa again, that we should put plans on hold, and a whole lot of other things. So we have to now rethink the strategy for like the plastic project, for the education project, and all that. We have to now rethink. Now everything is virtual, right? How do we keep things going even when we can't have physical interaction? And that was where all of us are trying to even understand the kind of situation we're in and how to navigate and move through it. And the whole ingenuity, the whole brilliance in the community of how we're able to navigate through all of that reminded me about what I saw in the community in the first place that got me to want to join. Fast forward, yeah. So as the project lead for that, I went on to lead a pillar. Then the following year, I was the impact officer because I was able to do what I wanted to do. And then the new curatorship came in and said, hey, I want you to be my impact officer to work with me. And then we went ahead again. We did a lot of fantastic stuff. We had impact across different pillars. And yeah, and then the time came, I felt like, okay, I think I'm now in a good place to lead the community. And then I put myself forward to want to lead the community as a curator. And it was a no-brainer again, eventually, when I got the overwhelming support of all members to serve as a curator. And really, being the curator has been I must confess, it's been a lot of work, especially for up like Lagos, where we have a lot of things already somewhat established. But at the same time, there seems to be like increasing accomplishments, like year on year for every passing curator. And then you are like very much conscious about no one seems to drop the ball, right? The next assignment for you is also to take it to the next level, right? And then you have a lot of big shoes to fill from where you're coming from. So that's like the first point of challenge I had to grapple with. But again, the community is always there to support. As much as you as a curator wants to open your plans up to members of the community, and even beyond the communities within the Lagos Hub. The interesting thing is that you also have people from outside of the Lagos Hub that are also very much open to help. Like across different parts of the world, always wanting to help with different things, different resources, different ideas. Just like I have also been very much intentional about. If I get any curator reach out to me from any part of the world, I'm able to, I want to just help as much as I can because I know what it feels like being a curator. So I'm still a curator, even though we have election coming up for us to have the next curator. But yeah, I'm still here and we're still driving change, we're still driving impact as much as possible. Yeah.
So you have a lot of professional experience also. You served like more than 50 plus businesses. You are running a successful startup in Nigeria, and you are planning to expand it throughout the African continent. So there are a lot of young people across the Africa, Nigeria. Do you have any suggestions for them regarding the global shapers community who will like join global shapers community in future? So the advice for them, the new shapers and yeah, for the current shapers from the global shapers community.
Yeah, so there's talk around like if you want to go fast, go alone. But if you want to go far, you need to go with people. So in this case, just don't want to go with any kind of people because going with any kind of people can also bring you back. But the word is that the global shippers community is one of such communities that you want to go with, irrespective of whatever journey, forward-looking journey that you want to take on in your life, right? Because I would typically give examples. So again, this takes me back to one of the questions I was asked when I wanted to join the community, right? Why do you want to join the community? Right? You seem to be doing some interesting things going on. So why do you need the community? And I said, okay, by joining the community is for two things. First is that I'm doing things across different points. And I seem to be creating impact in my own way. But I believe the community can help me amplify on the impact I'm making. So it won't have to just be my efforts right now. It will be our collective efforts, right? So starting from the city of Lagos, for example, I'll be working with some other like-minded young people like myself to drive change in those areas of interest to me within the same city. So it doesn't have to likely be my resources, it doesn't have to just be my time, it doesn't have to just be my expertise or my network, right? So this is me leveraging on the other resources of members of the community, of the collective community, the resources of the collective community, the reach of the collective community, and then knowledge of the collective community. So I mean, there's a lot more that we can achieve with that. That's one. The second one for me was that I need to plug myself into that community of young people that are striving towards, of course, everyone is striving towards a better world, right? But in different forms. I need to plug myself in into that community. So that's like the first major thing that I want to be part of. The second one is for me personally. Like, yeah, I want to be a global shipper, right? I want to be able to uh, boost my personal reputation, right? I want to be able to boost my personal CV because, again, I've been into some rooms and I say I'm a global shipper. I'm a global shipper of the World Economic Forum. And like, oh, a global shipper. Oh, nice. And they treat me like kind of differently. Because the understanding is that the fact that you're a member of this community means that there's something interesting about you, right? And fast forward again, I've gotten on some consulting rooms, projects, and they have some sort of international outlook in mind for those projects. Guess what I did? All I did was I went on Top Link and I look for shapers in those countries, right? So, hey, India, Botswana, South Africa, Kenya, Italy, Germany, and the likes, right? And then I started reaching out to them, like, hi, my name is this, I'm from the Lagos Hub. I have a project in this area, I don't know if you could help with, if you could maybe share some information on this, or maybe share your contacts. And all of them were overwhelmingly ready to help. I mean, I see someone like just drop, hey, I have my number, chat me up on WhatsApp, let's talk more about it, I can be able to help. Or someone giving me their email address, say, hey, send me a mail, I can connect you with someone here that work directly in this area. And when I was done with this particular project, right, I was done with the whole fact finding, I put together the reports, and I also asked these shapers if they'll be willing, or for if I can include their contact, or if they'll be willing to help with further information if they find me such. And they were like, hey, feel free, you can share my contact with the client. I mean, I'll be here to help if you want to come. I can. And guess what I did at the end of that whole report? I mean, I did assessment for I think about 10 countries of interest for this client, right? So when I was done with that report, at the end of the report, I attached the contacts of key persons, contact person in each of the countries. And the client was blown away, like, whoa, you got us phone numbers and email address of key contact persons in these countries if we decide, or when we decide to go into those countries. Because they were looking at like some sort of expansion for their business, right? And I felt like I couldn't have done this if I wasn't a member of the Global Shapers community, right? So for anyone that is looking to join, I mean, why do you want to go through life alone? The stress, life in itself is hard, right? So why do you not want to go through life alone by yourself? And why don't you go just seek for help? And the Global Shapers community accords you that. Like what we typically would tell even members of the Lagos Hub, you can get as much in this community as you can get out, right? I mean, sometimes it might not fall on your lap, right? So it is you understanding the opportunities that you have within the community and knowing how best you can nurse those opportunities, right? Of course, you're not just looking at taking and taking and taking. You also position yourself to also be able to give, right? So if anyone also need my help, which has happened at different points, and they reach out to me, say, hey, we need this and this in Lagos, I'm always very much open to help. A shaper from Zurich up was in Lagos sometime mid last month, and then he came for some research work, and we met physically in Lagos, and I was connecting him and his partner to contacts that could help them with information they need within Lagos, and that helped to solve most of their problems in that regard. So it's not just about you taking and taking, right? You're also giving this support back, and this is just how we grow the community. So why don't you want to be a part of such community? I mean, I don't know why, but I'm asking you again, why wouldn't you want to be a part of this sort of community? Yeah.
Truly amazing. You have a lot of experience and a lot of insights. So I think shapers who will watch this in future, they will get complete idea of global shapers community and how can it will help them to create their personality, their contacts, their networks, and how they can use it in their business also. So
Yep.
thank you so much for joining with us today and sharing your insights and expertise. It's my pleasure to having you on the show, and thank you so much for your time.
Yeah, it's a pleasure.
So we have a lot of shapers who joined us today online. It's like you can ask questions because he's the one of the, you can say, legend in sustainability and food supply chain in not only in Nigeria but in African continent, because he has recently he had won the best startup award from the one of the Bank of Nigeria from 500 different startups, and he won the first prize, and he's doing fabulous work. I am truly inspired by his work.
Thank you.
So we have 7-8 shapers. Yeah, Siddesh, Fatima, and Aman. If you want to ask any question, you can.
Yeah, I'll go first.
Yeah.
So I just want to know, while spreading your business all over other countries, what are the barriers you are facing right now?
So the business in itself, it's not spread all across the country, all across countries yet. For Ecotutu, the operation is still largely focused within the Nigerian market, and then we have plans in the pipeline to expand into some other African countries. We are still engaging with the key persons in these countries, the countries of interest that we're looking to expand to. And as soon as we're able to clear maybe the regulatory parts, the human resources parts, because this seems to be like the biggest orders for us getting to some of these countries. As soon as we're able to clear those parts, I mean, of course, we're able to get into those places. On the other side is my consulting work in environment, sustainability, and urban planning works. And this is where I said the Global Shapers community has been very helpful for me in terms of when I have projects spread across those different countries, I'm able to get contact persons that could help me with more on the ground information across these locations.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, Yusuf, I think you can ask.
Okay. Thank you. Good day, everyone. Good day, Babajide, and Janam Suwewash. Good day. Thank you for that lovely insight. However, but I should be open enough to say this is the first time I'll come across a Global Shapers community. I like to ask further that what does this Global Shapers community mean? What does it constitute for Nigeria? And what are the basic requirements that one needs to have to become a member, or what are the processes of being part of this global shaper community? And the third question is that being a member, having been a member of this community, how can one actually achieve his goal through a dialogue? Because one of the most important things that interests me to join this meeting is because of the driving change through a dialogue. You say a dialogue, not a monologue. And a dialogue is a communication whereby you and the other person, you exchange idea. It's like a 50-50 situation. You are not trying to dominate the communication. While you are giving out your thought on something, you are also listening to other person. So how could this be done within the content of the Global Shapers community? Okay, thank you. That's my questions.
Okay, that's like that's like lots of questions that is packed into one. So I try to respond. I hope I don't miss out any of it. So the Global Shapers community is a community of the World Economic Forum for young people between the age of 18 to 33. But now the age is now from 18 to 30, right? So young people spread across the world. We're present in over 100 countries, in over 440 cities across the world. And then we are, of course, operate under the tenet of the World Economic Forum, where we basically drive dialogue. We basically organize ourselves. We encourage dialogue, and we try to find solutions to problems that we face within our immediate communities. So each community is represented as hubs across the world, and we have over 440 of these. We have in the Lagos hub. So in Nigeria, we have 15 hubs as we speak, and it's still increasing. So I think we have added like 2 or 3 more hubs some days ago. So about 18 hubs now in Nigeria. And yeah, so like I said, we basically organize ourselves. We dialogue, we engage, we brainstorm, and we try to find solutions to some of the problems that we have in our immediate community. So for the Lagos hub, for example, we have projects that are around like civic engagement, because we have election coming up. We intensify on that front to promote dialogues, to collaborate with other partners to get young people to register to get their PVCs. We also get them to vote, of course, in the most ethical way possible. Go to exercise their civic rights, right? We also have projects going on in the area of education and reskilling for the future, where we partner with other organizations to train young people in identified communities in Lagos. We have one currently ongoing on in the Solo Oshodi, where we are training young people on computer skills, right? To train them on basic computer skills, and those other young people train more young people within their community. We equip some of these facilities with gadgets like computers that helps them to be able to even improve their learnings. Then for environment, we also have a project going on which we call the Plastic to Resources, where we are training women and youth, and then we are also working with recycling companies to recover, process, and recycle plastic waste, and be able to make like items or recover items out of such waste. So these are like examples of projects that we are doing. So different hubs or different cities have different projects, but we are all guided by the same pillar of impacts, pillar of projects that we'll be doing. But we could now come up with different solutions, different projects that fit into the context of our different cities. For you to be a member of the Global Shapers community today, the maximum age you will be 27, right? Once you're above 27, you can't be like an active member of the community. But yes, you can be like what we call, like in Lagos, what we call friends of shapers, or what we call volunteers within the Global Shapers community in Lagos. And what does this mean? So it means that for some of our programs, for some of our projects, for some of our activities, we like to extend invitations to those that identify themselves as friends of shapers, or for those that are interested in being a shaper, but because of age or some of these other factors, they can't be a member of the community anymore, right? So for you to join today, you have to be 18 to 27. Any of the hub you want to join different part of the world, right? But for you to join the Lagos hub, you must be 18 to 27. You must reside in Lagos, preferably because our focus is mostly on Lagos, right? Yeah, and then we also look out for people that already have interest in driving some of this change. It's not just enough to say, I want to. What is your track record saying? Have you tried to do this maybe in a little way? Have you tried to organize people? Have you tried to work in a team to try to what's a common goal? Have you tried to find solution to a problem within your community and things like that? So these are things I would like to look out for in people. I mean, we need to see that traction in you. We need to see that interest in you before we can see you be a good fit for you to join the Lagos hub or maybe for some of the hubs in other part of the world. Yeah, so we encourage dialogue a lot, and this is an example of what we are happening here. Bujanan is from one of the hubs in India, and then we are coming together to so much share ideas and share practices on what we're doing in Lagos, what they're doing in India, and how we can better learn from ourselves. So we do this across different platforms from time to time, and yeah, I hope this answers all your questions. In case I miss anyone out, please you can bring it.
Thank you so much. You have done justice to all my questions. Thank you. I've been educated.
Yeah.
I think you will get a lot of shapers after this podcast.
Well, the honest truth is I'm above the age limit. The only thing that could make me to be part is either to be a volunteer or friend of shapers. I'm above the age limit. Even if it is 33, I'm above that age. Yeah. Okay, no problem. Anytime you extend invitation to me on either any of your program, I will gladly welcome it.
All right. Thank you.
Okay.